Army of the Dead earlier this year, which was a pretty badass time, mixing two of my favorite genres, zombie and heist films. I love them both, and it was a pretty fun time. Now we have Army of Thieves, which is a prequel about Matthias's character, the wonderful locksmith, who is also directing this movie. Pretty interesting there. Was not that excited for this though, couldn't get into the trailers, and I gotta say, it was a pretty surprising time. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to a brand new movie review. Today we're going to be discussing Army of Thieves. This is directed by Matthias. Yes, this is the same guy who plays Dieter from the original Army of the Dead, who is like honestly one of the big standout characters of there. Seeing that he's starring in this, is the main character, and as well as directing, was a pretty interesting take, but I trust Zack Snyder when he's producing and giving stuff to that. And Army of Thieves, again, while I wasn't excited for the premise of it, I would have rather them continued where Army of the Dead had left off. A prequel film is interesting in this same exact world, especially with some of the Easter eggs they play around with, but it has heist elements, and I'm a big heist junkie, so I was interested in this one, and I gotta say, overall, it was surprising, it was fun, and I think a lot of you guys were going to enjoy this. Now, of course, if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking movies over here on a daily basis, as well as comment down below your guys' thoughts. Do you guys like Army of the Dead? Do you like Army of Thieves? Let's discuss it all down there, and of course, just once again, a big thank you to our sponsor this week, Scottsdale International Film Festival. If you are in Arizona, you should definitely get your tickets now. Army of Thieves, once again, is a prequel set before the events of Army of the Dead, which focuses on our favorite German safecracker, Ludwig Dieter, who leading a group of aspiring thieves on a top-secret heist during the early stages of the zombie apocalypse. So yes, this is during the early stages of the zombie apocalypse. There are a lot of fun Easter eggs to the entirety of Army of the Dead, and some of the elements and themes that they played around in Army of the Dead, they play around again in Army of Thieves. And I think this is overall just a really cool world, and I want to know where they might go next, whether it's a sequel to Army of the Dead, whether it's another prequel, or just something in this world. There is so much to play around with, and one of the big aspects that I loved about Army of the Dead was the characters, and Dieter was absolutely one of the big standouts in there. Did I think he deserved his own prequel film? No. But I actually think this was the right way to kind of go, and I, again, was surprised by this. Starting with my pros, one of the big things is the performances. I actually think Matthias, who plays Dieter in here, actually led the film in a really unique and stylistic way. Directing this movie as well, I wouldn't go as far to say that his style is so unique. It feels very much copied and honed in from at least a little bit of Zack Snyder to a couple other directors, most notably, but as the first thing I've ever seen this guy direct, it was actually pretty solid for a heist film, and the way that it was edited and put together, I thought was actually quite brilliant. But his performance was the thing that I was actually looking forward to in this entirety, and I found him to actually lead the film in a really great way. Talking about his secondary co-star, though, Natalia Emanuels, who I loved in Game of Thrones. I really appreciate her in Fast and Furious, and anytime she shows up in something, I find her to be a big standout. And honest to God, that improves here. Her and Dieter work on such a level that actually makes this film flow really well. And I think not just because of him, but her story as well is interesting. And again, we never saw her in Army of the Dead. We never saw or even heard a mention of her. And I'm curious to see if any of these other characters in here eventually play out in eventual sequels for Army of the Dead. But there is a big core crux between them and what their bond and what kind of brings them together that I really enjoyed. It also goes to the rest of the cast. Rubio Fee is a lot of fun. Stuart Martin is a lot of fun. Guz Khan, who plays Rolf, their kind of getaway driver, is great. The whole entire Army of Thieves here, there is not a weak link for me. Even though some play cliche manners to them, I always thought there was a lot of fun elements between them. Banter, chemistry, whatever you may say. I enjoyed that aspect. When it comes down to the heists, they're really fun. And that's what I can really much sum up for this movie. It's just a really fun movie. Like, yes, it borrows a lot from different heist genres and heist movies that we've seen before, but each heist has its own little vibe to it. The first one is very much stylistic and edited in a selective way where they really much play on the parody of a heist film where it's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to sum up what we're going to do here, and then something badly is going to go wrong. And then the way that they actually play that out on was a lot of fun. And the second heist that comes into play, and the whole safe cracking and what safes they're having to do, and the intensity of it all, to even the third one, which becomes probably my least favorite out of all the heists, but the emotional buildup and the character moments in there was probably the strongest. Again, This is a movie that's just centered around having fun. There's not the most emotional depth to it, but there's an intriguing layer to the entirety of the film. While it's all shot and really created in a really well done way, I was happy to at least see that. Now let's move over to my cons though. I don't really have anything in the mix, but really down to my cons, and one of the big cons I will say is nothing against Jonathan Cohen's performance, who plays the cop or FBI agent after them, but for me, I found his character to be a very major weak link. We talk about how this movie has some parody and satirical elements to other heist movies, and those elements work. I don't know if this was supposed to be one of them, but he is a very one-note character that honestly, yes, while he's trying to get in the way and stop them, I just found his segments to be the most boring out of all of them. And for a 2-hour and 7-minute runtime, it starts to drag by the end, and really much it puffs out. You know when you're driving a car and say you're running out of gas, your car just kind of poof, 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 stops? It seemed like Army of Thieves would stop sometimes, then go, and then stop, and then go, and it never felt like the pacing was really much there. And I feel like for me, while I talk about editing the scenes very well, I felt like the story needed a couple different cuts or subplots cut out to really bring us about, or maybe even a couple rewrites to really just get us into the story itself. And this one FBI agent character just did not work for me. And every moment with him just felt like a stereotypical, we gotta stop the heist people. I truly didn't love that, and that was the big detriment to this entire movie. To say nothing the least, Army of Thieves is still a really fun time. It's a surprising one at that. I didn't think this was a movie we needed, but after watching it, I sat there and I was like, I would watch that again. I'd recommend it to people who liked Army of the Dead, and I think it was just a lot of fun. It gives a lot more detail to one of the characters, and probably one of the big standout characters of the entire movie of Army of the Dead, and the fact that it's already coming out within the same year is even cooler. It has awesome side characters, especially Emmanuel's character, who I really dug in here, and I found her performance between her and Dieter to just be really wonderful. The direction from Matthias in here was actually quite surprising, even if it is a little bit copied from others, and I'm looking forward to what he does next, but I'm most looking forward to whatever they do in this world next. Netflix has a winner on their hands, and again, even though I liked Army of the Dead more, I can surprisingly maybe see people liking this one a little bit more. I like the connective tissues. I just wish the film was a little bit shorter to help its pacing and really bring the audience and immerse us into this world. But with all that said, guys, I'm going to give Army of Thieves a B. Thank you once again, guys, for watching this, and a big thank you to our sponsor once again as well, the Scottsdale International Film Festival. If you're in the Arizona area, get your tickets now, as well as make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below your guys' thoughts. Which movie did you like more, and do you love zombie films and heist movies? Let's discuss it all down there. Head on over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early, and of course, it's a big thing to you and a big thing to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So of course, until next time, stay classy.